Welcome back. I have a great Elephant Top treasure for you from this week's Torah portion. Please forgive the lawnmower in the background. Our goy neighbor works on the Sabbath. But if you will turn to Exodus 35, verse 15, I will show you what we're going to be talking about. Our verse reads in the English: the incense altar, its poles, the anointing, olive tov oil, the olive and tov sweet incense, and the screen for the door at the entrance of the tabernacle. What occurred to me last night as I was reading this Torah portion, I already had these olive and tovs yellowed, but the one that jumped at me was Ve'et Shemen Hamishcha. Shemen is oil. Hamishcha is anointing. So it's standalone olive and tov with a vav in the front. Shemen, oil of anointing. And I thought, I've read over this before and I've marked it even, and I didn't really know the significance of this. But let me go to Exodus 30, verse 30, and it tells about the anointing oil. It says, "And you shall anoint Aaron and his sons, and consecrate them, that they may minister to me as priests. And you shall speak to the children of Israel, saying, This shall be a holy anointing oil to me throughout your generations. It shall not be poured on man's flesh, nor shall you make any other like it, according to its composition. It is holy, and it shall be holy to you. Whoever compounds any like it, or whoever puts any of it on an outsider, shall be cut off from his people." So this is regarding the anointing oil. And I thought, oh my goodness, I wrote these last night. I was thinking Yeshua, he was anointed. So let's look at those verses. Go to Matthew 26:17. Got that marked, hopefully. I guess not. 26:17. Is that what I said? Hold on. No, it's Matthew 26:6. I may have written verse 6 and just said 27. I don't know. But anyway, Matthew 26, verse 6 says, "And when Yeshua was in Bethany at the house of Simon the leper, a woman came to him having an alabaster flask of very costly fragrant oil, and she poured it on his head as he sat at the table." And this story keeps going through, what verse does it go through? Through 13. So you can check out that story. But I'm only going to read that verse. Our next example is Mark 14, verse 3. Okay. And it says, it starts in verse 3. "And being in Bethany, which is actually Bethania in Israel, at the house of Simon the leper, as he sat at the table, a woman came having an alabaster flask of very costly oil of spikenard. Then she broke the flask and poured it on his head." So that's our second witness of Yeshua being anointed. Our third one is Luke 7:37, which begins, "And behold, a woman in the city who was a sinner, when she knew that Yeshua sat at the table in the Pharisee's house, brought an alabaster flask of fragrant oil, and stood at his feet behind him weeping. And she began to wash his feet with her tears, and wiped them with the hair of her head. And she kissed his feet, and anointed them with the fragrant oil. So that's our third witness of Yeshua being anointed. And then we'll go to John 12, verse 3, which says, Then Mary took a pound of very costly oil of spikenard, anointed the feet of Yeshua, and wiped his feet with her hair, and the house was filled with the fragrance of the oil. Well, I found all those verses, and I thought to myself, I wonder if there are any more standalone olive and tubs next to anointing oil. And there were. If you want to go to these verses, the first one is Exodus 31:11, and it starts off, Ve'et, oil of the anointing. And then Exodus 39:38, it says, Ve'et, altar of gold, Ve'et, oil of the anointing. So that's our third witness right here. And then there was another one, the last one that I found in Leviticus 8:2, and it says, Take Aaron and his sons with him, and the Ve'et garments, Ve'et, oil of the anointing. So we have three examples of prophecies of the standalone olive and tub as Yeshua with the oil of anointing. And we have also 4 witnesses of Yeshua being anointed with the oil of anointing, or with an oil. And do you know what the kicker is? The Hebrew word for anoint is the same word as Messiah or Mashiach. So, Ve'et, oil of anointing, literally says Ve'et, shemen, or oil of the Messiah. And it really was the oil of the Messiah, because he was anointed also, even though he wasn't a Levitical priest per se in their time, because they were all Pharisees, but he is our spotless priest, our high priest that had never sinned. So anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. I hope you have a blessed rest of your Shabbat. Thanks for joining me.